I never thought the hardest part of losing Margaret would be finding out I never really knew her at all. Standing in our bedroom 3 days after her funeral, I stared at the safe hidden beneath our bed, the one she made me promise never to open. For 32 years, I kept that promise. But now she was gone, and our daughter Sarah had stopped returning my calls. The key sat heavy in my palm, and I knew once I turned it, nothing would ever be the same. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with me today. Before we continue, please comment below and let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. Just a quick note, this story includes some fictional elements added for storytelling and educational purposes. Any similarity to real people or places is purely coincidental, but the message is meant to be meaningful. The funeral was small. Margaret had wanted it that way. Just close family and a few friends from church. I stood at the front of the chapel, looking at the casket covered in white roses. She had always loved roses. Every anniversary I brought her a dozen white ones. Pastor Williams spoke about heaven and peace, about how Margaret was with the Lord now. I nodded along, but I barely heard the words. My mind kept drifting to Sarah. She sat in the back row, her face hidden behind dark sunglasses. She had arrived late and hadn't spoken to me since. 30 years old, my only child, and she felt like a stranger. After the service, people came up to shake my hand. They told me how sorry they were, how Margaret was a wonderful woman. I thanked them mechanically, going through the motions. Sarah walked past me without a word. I reached for her arm. Sarah, please, we need to talk. She pulled away. Not now, Dad. Then when? My voice cracked. Your mother just died. We should be together. She looked at me then, and I saw something in her eyes I couldn't identify. Pain, maybe, or anger. You don't understand anything, she said quietly, then walked out. I watched her go, feeling like I was losing both of them. The house felt empty when I got home. Margaret's coffee cup still sat on the kitchen counter. Her reading glasses were on the side table. Her sweater hung on the back of the chair. Everything was exactly as she left it, but she was gone. I wandered through the rooms, not knowing what to do with myself. Eventually, I ended up in our bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed we had shared for 32 years and let myself cry. When the tears finally stopped, I noticed something. The corner of the rug was folded back slightly, revealing a piece of the hardwood floor beneath. I had never paid attention to it before, but now something made me kneel down and pull the rug back further. There it was, a small floor safe, maybe 2 feet square, built into the floor beneath our bed. My heart started pounding. I had never known this was here. In 32 years of marriage, Margaret had never mentioned it. I ran my hand over the cold metal surface. There was a keyhole in the center. And then I remembered something Margaret had said 2 weeks before she died. We were sitting on the porch watching the sunset. She was weak then, the cancer having taken so much from her. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small brass key. Paul, she said, pressing it into my hand. Promise me something. Anything, I said. Promise me you won't open the safe until after I'm gone. Promise me you'll wait. I looked at the key, confused. What safe? You'll find it, she said. Just promise me, please. I saw the fear in her eyes, the desperation. So I promised. I promised I would wait. Now, 3 days after her funeral, I pulled that key from my pocket. My hands shook as I knelt beside the safe. Part of me wanted to walk away, to keep my promise forever. But I needed to understand. I needed to know why Sarah was pulling away, why Margaret had kept secrets. I slid the key into the lock, turned easily. Inside the safe were 3 things: a thick manila envelope, a smaller white envelope with my name, written on it in Margaret's handwriting, and a worn leather journal. I picked up the white envelope first and opened it carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper. My dearest Paul, it began. If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the lies, for the secrets, for everything I kept from you. But I need you to know the truth. You need to know about Sarah. She's not who you think she is. She's not who I let you believe she was. Please read the journal. Please understand why I did what I did. And please, Paul, find it in your heart to forgive me. I loved you more than anything in this world. That was never a lie. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the letter. Sarah's not who I think she is? What did that mean? I picked up the journal with trembling fingers and opened to the first page. The date at the top was 33 years ago, a year before Sarah was born. I met someone today, Margaret had written. His name is David. He came into the library where I work, looking for books on architecture. He was charming and funny, and when he smiled at me, I felt something I haven't felt in years. Something I should feel for Paul but don't. God forgive me. I'm falling for someone who isn't my husband. The words hit me like a physical blow. I sat down hard on the floor, my back against the bed. Margaret had been having an affair. My faithful, devoted wife had been unfaithful. But I kept reading. I had to know. The journal chronicled a 6-month relationship. Secret meetings, stolen moments, the guilt that ate at her. And then, 2 months in, she wrote, I'm pregnant. The timing is wrong. Paul and I haven't been intimate in months. He's been so focused on his work, on building the business. And I've been so lonely. This baby isn't his. This baby is David's. I closed the journal and pressed my hands to my face. Sarah wasn't mine. My daughter, the girl I had raised, the child I had loved for 30 years, wasn't my biological daughter. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. I don't know how long I sat there. Eventually, I picked up the manila envelope. Inside were documents. A DNA test from 30 years ago, confirming what the journal said. Margaret had tested Sarah shortly after birth. The baby wasn't mine. There were also letters. Dozens of them, from David to Margaret, spanning 3 decades. He had wanted to be part of Sarah's life. He had begged Margaret to tell me the truth. But she had refused. She had cut him out completely, moved us to another state, changed her phone number. The last letter was dated 6 months ago. Margaret, it read. Sarah found me. She contacted me through one of those DNA websites. She knows I'm her biological father. She knows you lied to both of us for 30 years. She's angry, and she has every right to be. I'm telling you this because she's planning to confront you. Please, for her sake, tell Paul the truth before she does. He deserves to know. They both deserve better than this. The letter was signed David Morrison, so Sarah knew. That's why she had been distant these past 6 months. That's why she could barely look at me at the funeral. She thought I had known. She thought I was part of the lie. I picked up my phone and called her. It went straight to voicemail. I called again. Same thing. Finally, I texted her. Sarah, I found the safe. I know everything. Please call me. We need to talk. An hour later, my phone rang. You knew. Her voice was hard, cold. All this time, you knew I wasn't yours? No, I said quickly. Sarah, I swear to you I just found out today. Your mother never told me. I had no idea. There was a long silence. You're lying. I'm not. Please, Sarah. Let me come see you. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain, she said. My whole life was a lie. Everything I thought I knew about my family, about who I am, it was all fake. That's not true, I said, my voice breaking. You're my daughter. You've always been my daughter. Biology doesn't change that. Doesn't it? She said bitterly. David Morrison is my real father. He wanted to know me. He tried to be part of my life. And Mom kept him away. She kept us both in the dark. I know, I said. I read the letters. Sarah, I understand you're angry. Angry? She laughed. But there was no humor in it. I'm destroyed, Dad. Or should I even call you that anymore? The question cut deep. You can call me whatever you want, but I'm still your father. I'm still the man who taught you to ride a bike, who helped you with your homework, who walked you down the aisle at your wedding. That doesn't change. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I need time. I can't do this right now. Sarah, please. But she had already hung up. I sat in the empty house, surrounded by Margaret's things, holding the journal that had shattered my world. I wanted to be angry at her. I wanted to rage against the lies, the betrayal, the 30 years of deception. But mostly, I just felt broken. The next morning, I did something I never thought I would do. I looked up David Morrison. He lived 2 hours away, in a small town near the coast. I found his address online and got in my truck. I didn't call ahead. I didn't plan what I would say. I just drove. His house was modest, a small cottage with a neat garden. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes, gathering courage. Finally, I walked up to the door and knocked. The man who answered was tall, with graying hair and kind eyes. He looked at me, and I saw recognition flash across his face. "Paul," he said quietly, "you know who I am." He nodded. "Margaret sent me a photo once years ago. She wanted me to see what I was missing." He stepped back. "Come in." We sat in his living room, two strangers connected by a woman we had both loved and a daughter we both claimed. "I loved her," David said finally. "Margaret, I know that doesn't make it right what we did, but I loved her." "Did she love you?" I asked. He was quiet for a moment. "For a while, maybe, but she loved you more. That's why she stayed. That's why she cut me out." "She should have told me," I said. "I know," David said. "I begged her to, but she was terrified you would leave, that Sarah would grow up in a broken home. So instead, Sarah grew up in a lie." David looked down at his hands. "I wanted to be her father. I tried for years to be part of her life. But Margaret wouldn't allow it. She said it would destroy everything." "It destroyed everything anyway," I said. We talked for 2 hours. David showed me photos he had of Sarah, pictures she had sent him over the past 6 months. Pictures of her graduation, her wedding, moments I had been there for but he had only seen through a screen. "She's angry at all of us," David said. "At Margaret for lying. At me for not fighting harder. At you for, well, I'm not sure what. For not being her real father," I said bitterly. David looked at me seriously. "You are her real father, Paul. You raised her. You were there for every moment that mattered. Biology is just biology. Fatherhood is about showing up. And you showed up every single day." His words should have comforted me, but they just made me feel more lost. When I got home that evening, there was a car in my driveway. Sarah's car. She was sitting on the porch steps, waiting. When she saw me, she stood up. "I talked to David," she said. "He called me after you left. He told me you didn't know." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. "I'm sorry," she said, and her voice broke. "I'm sorry I thought you were part of it. I'm sorry I pushed you away." I walked up the steps and pulled her into my arms. She collapsed against me, sobbing. "I don't know who I am anymore, Dad. Everything feels wrong." "You're Sarah," I said, holding her tight. "You're my daughter. That's who you are. That's who you've always been." We sat on those porch steps for hours, talking through everything. The lies, the hurt, the betrayal. But also the love, the memories, the 30 years we had shared. "Mom was wrong to lie," Sarah said finally. "But I understand why she did it. She was trying to protect our family. She was trying to protect herself," I said. "Maybe," Sarah admitted, "but she loved us. Both of us. That was real." I looked at my daughter, this woman I had raised, and I realized something. Margaret's secret had nearly destroyed us. But it had also given me the chance to choose. To choose Sarah, to choose fatherhood, to choose love over biology. "I'm still your dad," I said. "If you'll still have me." Sarah took my hand. "Always." The healing didn't happen overnight. It took months of difficult conversations, of therapy, of slowly rebuilding trust. Sarah developed a relationship with David, and I supported her in that. He was her biological father, and she deserved to know him. But I was her dad, the man who had raised her, who had loved her, who would always be there for her. 1 year after Margaret's death, Sarah and I stood together at her grave. We placed white roses on the headstone. "I forgive her," Sarah said quietly, "for everything." "So do I said. We stood there in silence, two people connected by love rather than blood, by choice rather than chance. Margaret's secret had broken us, But in the breaking, we had found something stronger. We had found what family really means.